at this moment in hockey history. The Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 6th place in the Central Division. After 17 games skated on the season, they have a record of 7-10-0. 14 points has the Preds, 11 points behind the first place Dallas Stars. On home ice, which is where the Nashville Predators' next game will take place, they have a record of 5-4. The Preds have scored 52 total goals in the season. They've given up 57 goals against on the season. Now, I mentioned 11 points behind the first place Dallas Stars, so let's talk about the Central Division first. Then let's start to narrow down on the Nashville Predators' next matchup. The Dallas Stars currently sit in first place after skating 17 games, a record of 12-4-1, 25 points, has them 3 points clear of second place. Colorado has a record of 11-6-0 at 22 points. Winnipeg Jets also have 22 points, tied for second place. St. Louis Blues at 19 points, and the Arizona Coyotes are at 18. Then you'll find your Nashville Predators in 6th place with 14 points. The Minnesota Wild also have 14 points, and the Chicago Blackhawks are in 8th and final last place in the Central Division with just 10 points on the season. Now, after the Nashville Predators wrap up their next game, which will take place on home ice against the Calgary Flames, they will be on the road Friday afternoon to take on St. Louis Blues, Sunday back home to take on Winnipeg, Tuesday versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, wrap up the month of November with a game against Minnesota Wild on home ice, and then start the month of December with a game against New York Rangers on home ice. Now, mentioned Calgary Flames, so for the Nashville Predators, this is the second of 3 regular season meetings between the Nashville Predators and the Flames. They met the first time back on November the 7th when the Preds were in Calgary and fell 4-2. UC Stars 35-38 took the loss. Markstrom 16-18 picked up the victory. It was Kadri, Dubé, Hanifin, and Coleman all with the goals for the Calgary Flames. It was McCarron and Sherwood with the goals for the Nashville Predators. These two teams will skate one more time, and it will take place again at Bridgestone Arena when Nashville will face off against Calgary Flames on January the 4th. Now, for the Nashville Predators injury update, Shen still listed on IR, but is practicing. McDonough also day-to-day, but practicing. Glass, not sure, left late in the game last night with an injury. Novak, 3 to 5 weeks is what he is listed as at this point in time. Now, let's get to the Nashville Predators' next opponent, which is the Calgary Flames. They have an overall record of 7-8-3. That is 17 points and 6th overall in the Pacific Division. On the road, 4-5-2. They've scored 52 times this season. They've given up 63 against. That's a minus 11 goal differential. In their most recent stretch of action, let's go back and talk about their previous 5. It was on November the 11th. When the Calgary Flames lost 4-1 at Ottawa. On the 14th of November, a 2-1 win at Montreal. On the 16th of November, a 5-2 win versus the Vancouver Canucks. On the 18th of November, a 5-4 shootout loss versus the New York Islanders. And most recently on November the 20th, a 4-3 overtime win at the Seattle Kraken. Vladar got the start in the victory, 28 out of 31 in that game. Let's talk about the matchup and the rankings between these two teams. The goals for category, Calgary, 2.89 per game is 22nd overall in the NHL, while the Nashville Predators 3.06 goals per game is 20th overall in the NHL. In the goals against category, Calgary giving up 3.33 per game, that's 20th in the league, while the Nashville Predators giving up 3.35 against, that's 22nd overall in the NHL. Shots for Calgary generating 32.7 on net per game, that is 7th best in the league, while the Preds generating 30.6 on net per game is 21st overall in the league. Now, this is an interesting matchup right here. In the shots against category, Calgary giving up 29.2 against per game. That's 8th best in the NHL, while the Preds are giving up 29.8 shots against per game. That is 10th best in the NHL. So 2 top 10 teams in the shots against category. When it comes to special teams, the Calgary power play is converting at 14%, 26th in the NHL. Only 8 conversions on 57 opportunities this season, while the Nashville Predators are converting at 20%. That's 14th best in the NHL. 14 conversions on 70 opportunities. When it comes to the penalty kill, 86.2% is the kill rate for the Calgary Flames. That's 6th best overall in the league. They've only given up 8 power play goals against the season, while the Predators are quite a different story on the PK. 71.4% is 30th rated in the NHL, and they have given up 16 power play goals against on the season. When it comes to every team in the NHL, plenty of high-skilled individual scores, so we always like to go down the top 5 scores for each team. Start with the home team, Nashville Predators. Philip Forsberg having an incredible start to his season. Some of the best offensive production that he's had in his career through the first 17 games. 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 overall points. O'Reilly is second on the team in scoring with 8 and 8 for 16. Tommy Novak 6 and 6 for 12, but he is out injured for the next 3 to 5 weeks potentially. Nyquist suddenly at 2 and 10 for 12 points. And the captain, Romeo, 3 goals, 8 assists for 11 points. Over on the visiting Calgary Flames side, Lindholm is at 4 goals, 9 assists for 13 points. Jonathan Huberdeau is at 4-8 for 12. Nazem Kadri, 3 goals, 9 assists for 12 points. Mangiapane at 5-5 for 10. And Anderson at 3 goals, 7 assists for 10 points. Expected goaltender matchup, Markstrom, who already has a victory against the Nashville Predators this season, has a record overall of 4-6-2, 903 save percentage, 2.75 goals against average. And in that start against the Preds back on November the 7th, he went 16 out of 18. UC Saros has a record overall of 5-9-0 on the season, 892 save percentage, 3.22 goals against average. Those numbers are not great, neither is the record, but this last start was pretty decent. UC Saros took the loss against the same Calgary Flames team on 11-7, going 35 out of 38. That's got you all set up for the Nashville Predators Calgary Flames' second of 3 meetings this regular season. Preds fell 4-2 in Calgary in their only trip to Calgary. The Flames will make one more visit to Nashville before the end of the regular season. That'll take place on January the 4th. We've got to get the Rebirth Sports full game recap, and we've got to go back and talk about what happened in the Colorado Avalanche game. It's coming up after the break. It's called the Rebirth Sports full game recap, and it's right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.